Welcome to Gruber Power Hour.
Yeah.
I'm Erica.
And I'm Wyatt.
And today, I'd like to ask you one simple question. Are you driving without car insurance? No. So why use the UPS without your insurances too? So today, what we'd like to talk about is service agreements.
Yeah.
And service on your units. Oh, this is a fun topic.
I like to think somebody felt very specifically called out when you said that. Like they were just dealing with their insurance before this, and they're like, "How'd you know?"
Darn it. She read my mind. No. So happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Today is September 20th, 2024. So this is the process, right? You go out. You get a UPS, you buy it typically from the OEM. So the OEM sells it to the customer, and then the customer buys the warranty. Typically, there's some form of an extended warranty, but you're really under no obligation whatsoever to purchase the preventative maintenance agreement from the OEM. And then, batteries and capacitors, they're not included in your UPS's basic warranty. And then those are all billable. The warranty runs out, and after a year, the OEM services their own equipment. They don't service other equipment.
You can have more than one brand of equipment, but if the technician is there and you want him to look at this other UPS that you have, they'll just say no.
Yeah, it's like taking your Honda to a Honda dealership and then asking them to check out the Ford.
Yeah.
They won't. More than likely,
like, "Get this Ford
unless
out of here."
They sell it. But so companies like Gruber, what we offer is technical support. We offer preventative maintenances. We offer a consolidative service that is going to parts, accessories, capacitors, bypass switches, panels. I mean, we do all of that. And what we're able to say is that we can service any equipment at Gruber. We don't have to be OEM specific. So when you're utilizing a company like our company, which, mind you, we're one of the #1 independent service organizations in the United States. We've been around since the 80s, before I was even born.
40 years, way before me.
And so the reality of intellect in this company and what we can share and how we can benefit and add the value of service to your organization. We can do the whole mixed pile of everything. So if you have Eaton, Veritiv, Liebert, Mitsubishi, whatever it is, we can service it. And when it comes down to it, not many independents can do that or will do that. They're Eaton certified, or they're Veritiv certified, or they're Liebert or they're Schneider certified. So they're only working on that type of equipment. They're only subbed out by the OEM for that equipment, which what that really does is take such a limited, not very creative mind. Yeah.
It's
such a box.
The way that we work, though, is we're a turnkey. We're everything that you need. Like, if you're working with me, and with your backup power, with your UPS equipment, I don't really care what's going on with what piece of gear. I'm going to figure out a way to do it. If that even means having to go out to the OEM and try and get them to help us, even in those sorts of situations where they're necessary.
And he doesn't mean he doesn't care about you. What he means is that he doesn't care what the equipment is, and he doesn't care how hard it's going to be to find it. Like, we're gonna work very hard to ensure that everything is up and on the up and up, because the customer matters, the uptime matters, the lack of downtime for the equipment matters. So being able to work with all brands, we reduce that downtime in the equipment from the OEM can even be sold to us. Then we can part that. Then we can take on the batteries. We can recycle the batteries, and then you can kind of get a return on an investment and maybe utilize that toward the purchase of a batteries or new UPS.
The next thing that you're working on, exactly.
I mean, ultimately, we are a one-stop shop. And there's so many people that don't recognize that or understand that. So working with an independent, I'm not saying we obviously are trying to take business away from the OEM, but the OEM loves independence as well, because they're focused on the end user. We're focused on all parties involved. If you're a service organization as well, we partner with you. If you need parts, if you need batteries, if you need service, and it's something that your field technicians can't seem to handle, then we're able to get involved in that.
It's
phenomenal.
Our warehouse is so full of so many different parts and bits and bobs from so many different, because we acquire all these different units, and we'll piece them apart. If we can't get it running again, right? If it can't be completely refurbished, we're still going to save all the parts, itemize them, test them, make sure that
Tag
they're
'em.
good, tag them exactly.
And then save them in the proper environment so
exactly
it
to make
doesn't
sure
go bad.
so we know that they're not going to go bad. And just having all of those on hand from so many different sources just means that whatever problem comes up, it's like we can just reach over and we already got the piece ready to go.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we're going from small PCs to power production products to UPS's power conditioners, generator. Sorry,
Rectifiers.
I'm getting away from my microphone. Generators, rectifiers,
Inverters.
hardware. I mean, how many circuit board products can you find other than an OEM? You're typically not going to an independent service organization, but now you can. So what we do is we offer the same price break and the same price discounts at a wholesale rate as sometimes even cheaper than the end user, because we know that you need to have a margin as well to make that money. So we're all in it to win it. And if it can be win-win-win, like, why not?
Yeah, that's
Why
always 100% my philosophy. The idea, like, especially coming in this as like a salesperson, is like you said, win-win-win. I want everybody to be happy. I want to work within the budget that you have to get you the products that you need and for you to feel comfortable about it, right? Like, so everybody, you know, we generate the income that we need to operate. You get the services that you require and the peace of mind to know that, like, if something happens.
Yeah.
Which eventually with UPS, they can't run independently forever without being maintained.
Right. Exactly.
We're there to help out.
Exactly.
And to make sure that it doesn't happen in the first place.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the preventative maintenance.
That's what we want above all. Which is the scary thing is that there is a lot of people out there who are running their businesses and everything is basically riding on these UPS systems. Like at the end of the day, all of their computers, you know, are on it, but they're not maintaining it. Like there's
whether you're a customer or not, we're offering 24/7 support.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know many companies that are independent like ours that are taking on other people's problems without a price tag tied to it. That's
right?
the genuine.
That's always been the crazy thing here
genuine.
that I've thought about is like tech support. Whenever you like, if you are having an issue with your UPS and you're just not sure, like even where to start, and you don't want to call an OEM to come out there, which is going to be like, you know, way more expensive than you want. For free, if you contact us, I can schedule for you time to have a phone call with one of our experts there with you in front of the unit. And they can talk you through it and try to get down to the bottom of what's going on with your unit. And that's without any kind of contract. You can just be walking in off the street. You can just give me a call or send me an email and I would do that for you. You know?
I mean, we're even sending roughly like 30,000 plus emails on a weekly basis, just like our podcast last week was informative information about the capacitor and how it works. We're informing people in that marketing as well. So if you want to be a part of that and you want to have, you know, access to the YouTube page or TikTok, I'm so bad. I'm so mom about that. I call it TikTok. So with it. Yeah, it's not skibbity, but we got this. I used that wrong too, didn't I?
I don't even know.
I don't know either. You kids have the
no
weirdest.
idea.
But I think back to when I was a teenager, how many dumb things I said in lingo perspective. It was
I have no place to talk.
Ridiculous. I think our generation was the rad. That was rad or wicked.
I still use
so
rad.
Wicked.
You called me out for using rad.
Yeah, you have said rad quite a few times. Now, I want to get to the next part about our industry is making sales calls. There's people like him and me that are account managers that are out here trying to do what we got to do and spread the awareness and let everybody know. And salespeople have such a bad rep.
We do, and part of me like gets it because I think that there's a lot of bad fish out there that leave such a bad taste in your mouth that anytime somebody calls it and it's like a business thing, like if the idea of like, oh, this person is gonna make a sale at some point, it immediately turns them off.
They ask me like, when I'm calling, the gatekeepers are like, and we call them gatekeepers, by the way, because you guys are really good at not letting anyone get through. But my favorite is this a sales call?
Yeah.
What is your objection to that?
My thing with if I was on a call and towards the end they had to ask me, is this a sales call? I want to go back and listen to that call and see where I messed up.
No, I mean, preferably at the gatekeeper section.
Oh, yeah.
When you're like, hey, is John Doe there? And they're like, is this a sales call?
You know, the way that I try to approach that is because I know what it is they're wondering if I am offering anything, which I am. Like I try to present it as like, well, I want to talk about like maintenance for your guys' unit, or like I was hoping to speak with your engineers because genuinely I am especially if it's something I'm having to cold call, like I'm trying to call somebody up. I do want to get an update on how their UPS are and how it's maintained, and if they have an MA, not for my pocketbook, but for their sake.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people that they just run their UPS and then don't acknowledge it until something hits the wall.
Well, not only that, but they're also mostly calling the OEM.
Yeah, and then they're mostly calling the OEM.
They don't realize that the price difference.
Yeah, and like I get the temptation of doing that because that's probably like in the moment it feels like the easiest one.
APC, I need to call
APC. But they didn't do any of their research to see if like, well, what if there's a local guy who's literally down the street?
Exactly.
Who would be able to look at this unit and do it faster, more efficiently, and with a better price. But like they don't look. So like that's basically the point of the call. Like if we're calling into somebody is like gathering information. What are you guys doing? Are you just going through the OEM? Have you done your research? Like and my thing with it is always if they're like, no, we're not interested, we're going through the OEM. If I get that hard wall, I respect it.
Yeah.
Because if I was in their shoes, it would frustrate me if they kept trying to push the point, which is where I kind of mentioned I think some salespeople put a bad taste in the mouths of
others. I think it's also a matter of like the gatekeeper or the receptionist is there to stop the calls from coming in that seem like they're unnecessary. And when you come off as a salesperson, then you absolutely seem completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
But we're not trying to sell you something you don't need. So my constant reaction to that is I want to jerk back and say no, but I don't want to be dishonest because I want them to understand that I'm trustworthy. So if I say, no, he was expecting my call, then I get Guy on the phone and then he's like, I have no idea who you are. And I give him a sales pitch and then he's like, you want me to trust you?
Yeah.
I think my favorite acknowledgement of this is what Pete Gruber had said to us.
You beat me to it. I was literally we talked to Pete Gruber just yesterday about a literal example of this happening.
Yeah.
Because somebody called in and got to with a wonderful investment opportunity.
We're a stockholder investment firm.
They got to the Pete's receptionist and just boldface lied to them, saying, "Is he expecting your call?"
Oh yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I know Pete. They've never talked to Pete before in their life. So obviously they didn't realize that the receptionist talks to Pete before they connect him. So
of course
the receptionist gets on the line with Pete and is like, okay, this is the person on the line. They say that they know you. Do you know them? And then Pete's just like, I have no idea who the heck this person is. But send him through. And Pete just like gave it to him, man. Like,
oh, no. He listened to the pitch. He listened to the guy's pitch and then he goes, so you want me to give you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Because it was an investment
but you
thing.
Just lied to my receptionist to get through and you want me to trust you?
Yeah.
Like that is probably the prime example of what most people think a salesperson is.
Yeah.
Like let's just put it in another industry is like shipping, right? These shipping managers and these logistics managers probably get like 50,000 emails and 50,000 calls on a monthly basis from freight companies and freight liners trying to get their business, and they're like, I am so over these calls. So they have a way of depicting the genuine people and the genuine companies, and then it maybe give them an opportunity if they're not satisfied with who they're already working with. So we're getting the exact same thing. Okay, so I've had past negative experiences. This is just a timing issue. We're not ready to make a decision right now. I need to consult with others. There's too many options. The lack of trust.
And a lot of that, like the lack of trust, we also have on here like skepticism of the benefits of what you can get out of an MA. I think a lot of that has to do with the approach of the salesperson and them not believing you right off the bat.
Yeah, the lack of knowledge.
That comes up the most with me and personally when I'm speaking with customers, when I can tell they don't have the knowledge and they're hesitant and they're not sure if I'm just like a sales dude who's trying to rip them off. And so like the way that I have to try and really move that conversation is I'm asking about the maintenance of your guys' important equipment. Obviously, like, I am a salesperson, so sometimes I'll even be like, I am looking for opportunities, but I mostly want to see if there's like any room for you guys to improve on the way that you guys
I think
are
my
running
most
things.
laughable hang up is always they think that I'm an automated attendant when I'm calling. I get that a lot.
Oh, man.
And it's quite annoying. I'm like, hi, my name's Erica. I'm calling from Gruber Power Services. And they're like, oh, stupid robocaller, and hang up. And then I'll call back and I'm like, no, I'm a real girl. I feel so, it makes me want to, how do I make my voice sound less
robotic?
Proper?
Robotic's not even the word. The thing is,
robotic.
You're not, is the thing. But
I just sound too happy.
You have that bubbly voice that I think all of the generated voices are shooting for, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas, thanks for calling. I can do.
I have like radio voice. You would hear something like my voice on the radio nowadays. The agent. Smooth jazz. Radio
98.3. I don't know. I'm not a radiohead. But yeah, so I feel like it's really good to come to these unresolved issues. And as technicians or persons in this industry or even IT professionals, people, anyone really in this industry that's watching, I'm going Italiano now. Anyone who's watching us in this industry understands, hopefully, that Gruber is a resource and that like going into our service agreements, right? We've got an array of that. You've got the like parts only agreements. You've got preventative maintenances 1 to 2 times a year. You've got like an 8 to 5 schedule to help keep things a little bit cheaper if that's what you're looking for, more price conscientious. Yeah. Then you've got the 24/7, 365, always on call, 2 to 6 hour response times. I mean, it can really vary, and we can take you wherever it is that you want to go. Just let us know.
Exactly.
I'm looking for a budgetary quote. That's so much smarter to put, especially if you're doing it at the end of a fiscal year and you have to plan for the next year and you want to put something maybe out for a bid or what have you. But we want to be a resource. We want to be available. And again, it is free.
I have a perfect example. Sorry, excuse me. This literally came up just before we came out here because I am literally, obviously I won't say who it is or what company, but somebody just called in to us to ask about a listing we had on eBay. Because we list a lot of equipment that's
and
up
Amazon.
there, eBay and Amazon, that you can go through and see what we have there. But he specifically, he got on the phone with me and he was like, I'll level with you. We're a startup. This UPS is for used equipment. Like, I want to get one of your guys' refurbished unit, but we kind of have a budget. Like, and
I love it when they're honest and transparent.
Exactly. Like,
that's a partnership.
And that's perfect. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And he was like, but here's the eBay listing that I found. Like, we want this unit, but I want to work with you. Because he was like, the price that's on there is rough for us.
Okay.
But I thought maybe if I worked with you guys, we can maybe make it work. And I was like,
let's make it work.
Perfect. Like, and literally this just happened. So I haven't started on like the quoting process and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm going to work with him. I'm going to because I think some of the stuff he was worried about was that like he would get freight and the freight would like the shipping would be insane and like it would be more than he was expecting. But now while he's making this purchase of a UPS, which is like the listing was more than $5,000 on there. So it's like I get being hesitant for that. But now he's working with me one-on-one, and even if the first quote I send out, if he's like, look, this is still kind of tight and like I'm still trying to work within his budget, make sure that we're making profit, I'll keep going until like honestly, my dream
until we really can't.
Until we really can't. And
nobody works for free. I think that's ultimately where the mindset of the consumer or the end user is like, why am I going to pay you when I pay this guy in my building to do this? Well, this guy in your building he's there to keep it running. After it's been serviced.
Day by day.
He's not an engineer or a field engineer that's used to working on this type of equipment. Now, we do have customers that are like that, where they have hired, an infrastructure manager or a chief engineer or something to that effect in their credentials, and they're certified and they're able to work on that equipment. And
I
that's
love those
fantastic.
Guys too. Yeah, because I think that's great that you're doing it. Exactly, because we're just a resource. And like, I still want to work with those people. Like, I don't have to be in everything. If you have your guy who's like your UPS guy, just be like, hey, here's contact info with Wyatt from Gruber. When you inevitably need stuff for our unit, here's a guy that you can buy from, and you know that he's going to treat you
and
fair.
I love that word, inevitably, because it will inevitably happen.
It's the
Hi,
same with your car.
I like that name. Firkin.
𝘾𝙝𝙚𝙚𝙠 3. I love it.
Boldness. I've got to know, Firkin, can you tell us where you developed this name? Unless maybe it's his name backwards. Nakruf. I don't know.
Nakruf.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm overthinking that. So,
but like the car analogy works perfectly to like what I was saying, how it's inevitable, right? We all know that you're gonna have to replace the tires on your car. You're gonna have to replace the batteries in your UPS. It's all inevitable. And you also know, like, if you, like me out there, you're all responsible car owners, you also know inevitably you're going to have to take it in the shop. Roadside assistance, exactly. Like, if you get a flat tire or something like that, you don't want to be left out in the road. Like, you know what I mean?
I just had that. I'm so not smart. I did not have AAA. I'm like, oh, my tires have been fine for years. I'm not going to keep paying for this. I want to lower my. I'm thinking I'm going to get a better deal because I'm never going to need this. Oh, forget that. Literally within probably 2 months of canceling that, I was on my way home from dropping someone off, had my kids in the car, pop goes the tire. Number one, that scares the heck out of you.
It
scares you. It sounds like an explosion on the side of your car. You're like, what was that? But then I pull into like a Church's, which not everyone's next to a restaurant or something, and I'm like, oh darn it, I have a spare tire, but my spare tire was flat. I'm like, okay, how do I pump this up? There were no gas stations around with like the tire air, and so I was just like, oh darn it. So thankfully I had friends who are who are smarter than me and keep the things they need for situations such as that, like a compressor or, getting a ride or a jack. For goodness sakes, make sure you have a jack in your car. So with all of that being said, just like your vehicle and just like real life situations, your business is the same. Yeah. You need to have the insurances in place, because if you don't, you're going to have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars that you were not ready for. Yeah. So it is so much more intelligent and just peace of mind. I mean, people pay for subscriptions all the time, right? Yeah. You may not watch Netflix, you might actually watch Hulu, but you're still paying for Netflix for when you want to watch it. I mean, I'm just trying to be relevant, but
I get
you. Or identify with others that may not necessarily be business owners, but it really is the right strategy to take. And it hurts me to hear people who call us in such a desperation and then, maybe think that we're ripping them off or something, because UPS is brand new or not cheap, but we do offer refurbished. So then that's what I really want to get into is like, we're buying these and we're taking the hard to find parts, or we're taking old UPSs, which others really like certain brands and they want to keep it and they've been maintaining it or they've had an agreement for so long. So it runs systematically. I'm good. Thank you. It runs systematically. So the fact that you wouldn't want to prevent something horrible from happening or downtime of your business really just blows my mind. Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't be a business owner.
Sometimes these businesses, they look into the short term and they're like, what am I paying for? Like, why should I have to pay for this? Yeah. But when you look at things across the longer time frame, because like we said, like with your car, inevitably something's going to have to be replaced, something's going to have to be fixed. Yep. And if you're not taking the best care of it, the hit you're going to take from having to do emergency service, from having to when things really go crazy and you have to like replace the entire unit because it's been mismanaged, that's going to cost so much more in the long run than any kind of annual maintenance agreement plan. Where we just have a guy, like we can do it once a year. I recommend twice a year. Just come out.
Twice a year is realistically the better option.
It really is.
Unless it's a really small unit. But
I only go with once a year if they really don't want to spend the money.
I think anything over like 10 kVA should at a bare bones be serviced twice a year. Yeah. Because you know, air conditioners can go out, things could happen, the temperatures can change, the parts you didn't know were bad.
Things that you didn't expect, like if your UPS is in a maintenance closet and you may not even thought about it, but your AC went in out a little while ago, and it's like, well, it sucked for the time, but you didn't think about the UPS, which was not at the correct temperature.
Or you have like a dairy farm or factory of some sort, and you have temperature-based product and storage that is critical and crucial to your business, and then the power goes out and you have nothing holding that refrigeration. So hopefully the utility company gets it back on in a few hours and nobody's opened that fridge. Have you ever had the power go out at your house and you're like, nobody touched the fridge?
Oh my God. Yes.
Try it with kids. I got 3 at home that I swear it's like when the power goes out, they're like, oh, I'm thirsty. I'm bored. I want to eat. So imagine that in a factory. You've got 200 people. The people can go home and the factory still can potentially make money, you know, from the online sales or the online purchase orders going down from your consumers. But then you've got the refrigeration's down. You've got a facility manager who should have had a UPS to help with that power load for the time in which it's going to take the utility company. On average, a utility company cannot get the power back on for at least 1 to 2 hours. That's like a minimum loss. So your runtime should be efficient to your local downtime outages. So look at like the outage histories, look at all of that. The IT professionals should be looking into this, is like, what's the average? And that's really where you want to understand, how long does it take for the generator to kick on? How long does it take for this? How long does it take for that? And we have the professionals that can come out and do a site visit and really go through the entire map of your electrical system, sorry, brain fart, and your electrical system, and really understand it. Even if we personally as salespeople may not understand the complete electrical, you know, we're not electrical engineers, but we are being trained by electrical engineers. We're being
we work directly with them.
By them.
What we need is our job is figuring out what you need. Like figuring out where you are with, like, where's your equipment at, like what's your budget, like that's kind of our end, and organizing, like getting things done. And we have the source of the years of experience of our engineers to make sure that everything is being done correctly.
Right. We're not only a manufacturer, but we're a service provider, and then on top of that service provider, we're also a welcome station for anyone that wants to walk through here.
Anyone, yeah,
we
like
will tour you anywhere you want. Hey, Jivian.
Hello.
Jivon. I don't know.
Jivon on Instagram.
Jivon. I love it. I love messing with names. I'm sorry if you take offense to it, but it's just me. But I feel like the objections that people have are so valid. It's very valid.
Yes, it's like I get it from their perspective, 100%.
But I need you to understand it from the business perspective, not your personal.
Again, the short term. Understood. I get that you wouldn't want to spend it, but as soon as we start taking a look at things in the long term, it makes less and less sense to not get some kind of maintenance.
I'm not going to walk into a dealership with the idea that I need a better car and walk out with a crappier one.
Yeah. Or that I just spent all this money on this brand new car, and do I need to get insurance or do the maintenance to make sure that it keeps up?
Because that power and that sustainability, that is your wheels of your business. That is the car of your business, is the driving force of your business. And the lifeblood should be your people. And if your people can't work and the production can't happen, then I guess you're not really making any money. And I don't think we all wake up to pay for nothing.
You had a fantastic example with the dairy industry earlier and how, like, vital the UPS and maintaining it are. I want to also call out manufacturing. Because I know for sure, because like I've seen a lot of stuff in that industry, that they have very sensitive, very high value equipment, millions of lathes and machining gear made for making specific things. And especially from interacting with a lot of those kinds of people, I also know that they have very strict shutdown procedures, that just cutting power to these kinds of machines could just destroy destroy them.
Yeah, they got to like recalibrate the machines, and they have to redo the programming, and that actually costs so much more than a UPS agreement, I promise.
Yes, yes. So it's like you want to, that is the lifeblood of your business, and if you're not protecting it properly by having a well-maintained UPS.
Yeah, the power goes out and you have a loading dock and you've got 25, 50 trucks sitting out there ready to be loaded. Do you know how much a truck order not used fee is? I can tell you about $250. So you've got $250 for each one of those trucks that are sitting out there, because they don't get to get a bill of lading printed, or they can't even open the dock door to get the truck in there and load it and hopefully get the power back on. Or some of the warehouses have converted to electric forklifts, right? So now they can't even charge the batteries for those. So your entire product, I just think it
just makes a lot of sense.
Preventative maintenance is the oil change of your business. If you do not lubricate that business properly,
you're gonna have
that's not
trouble.
the best analogy, but if you don't, then the wheels don't keep turning. I get the analogy. Don't get gross, but I get the analogy. And ultimately, if you can't keep the gears turning and you can't keep the wheels turning, and I mean, where are you going to go? You're not going forward. You're just kind of sitting there. And I don't think anyone's business should be sitting still. So, extension 401, Erica Guthrie.
It's your turn. You're shilling now?
Yeah. Well, hey, why not?
Self-promotion.
I'm always ABC, always be closing. So with the right strategies, with the right professionals, and with the right companies partnering with you, that's really what Gruber stands for. We're not out here trying to be car salesmen. No. We're not trying to sell you a Lamborghini when you should be using Lamborghinis because you're too broke for it, right? I mean, I get it, and we all get it, but are you in an agreement? And if you're not, why? Ask yourself that. Ask your bosses that. Question your organizations. Question even your city of, state of, county of, like, are they really spending your money wisely by going with the OEMs and going with all of that, like we talked about in the bid process? They have it in their head already. Are they spending your money wisely? Is the company that you're investing your time in, more than your own family, investing in the right products to keep the sustainability so you can keep a job? I mean, we really need to think about these things, and we need to have these conversations, and the organizations that we're involved with, we would love to have those conversations with you. Yeah,
if you want, email either of us, and we would love to open a dialogue. If you're in that situation where you're like, my boss won't justify this kind of maintenance agreement, but it seems like a good idea, or if you're in the position where you've been on the offense about it, open a dialogue, like genuinely, like Erica said, let us know what concerns that you have of why it doesn't seem like it would work for you. And like, we're not in the business of selling things that you don't need.
Exactly.
So like, if honestly you didn't need it, like, that's what we would say. You probably need a maintenance agreement to some extent.
You don't
should have at least,
need one. You really should have one. Yeah,
you really should.
I mean, a service agreement for one unit can go like maybe $1,500, and then you have to replace that unit. And guess how much it is? It is not $1,500. The batteries themselves, if they, could be a very high cost. If you have, external battery cabinets and having to purchase multiple modules, it's like, prepare yourself. Have that insurance, and that insurance is going to be an agreement with Gruber Power Services in order to help your business thrive, keep it running, and all of you who don't have one and think you don't need one and that it's a waste of time. When was the last time your power went out, and what did you do? But I'm Erica. Next time I'm Gruber Power Hour. I look forward to seeing you. And Wyatt. Sorry, I did that wrong. I did the closing wrong. I'm Erica.
And I'm Wyatt. There you go.
Next time on Gruber Power Hour. Aloha.